If you want to create a gut healing, joint strengthening, immune boosting food out of chocolate, then watch this video. I am an absolutely huge fan of chocolate, and I'm even a bigger fan of gelatin. Gelatin is one of the true superfoods because it heals the gut, it detoxes the body, it helps prevent disease and cancer and all sorts of nasties, it boosts immunity, strengthens our joints, balances our hormones, helps us sleep, and so much more. I always have good quality gelatin, beef gelatin, in my pantry, and today I'm going to show you how to use it to make a really healthy dish. The recipe is chocolate gummies. Yum! It's essentially a healthy version of lollies. Before you begin, it's important to have all your ingredients ready to go and your essential utensils. You need a medium to large saucepan. The ingredients you need are pure coconut milk or cream, honey, pure organic cocoa powder. I don't use cacao, it doesn't have enough flavor. You're cooking it anyway, so most of the nutrients are gonna go. Cocoa tastes way better. And of course, the star ingredient, gelatin powder. Start by putting the coconut milk in the saucepan. Turn on the temperature to low. Grab gelatin and a tablespoon. The rule of thumb for me anyway for making gummies, nice and firm jellies, is about 4 tablespoons to 2 cups of liquid. That's going to get them nice and firm. The less you add, the more jelly and wobbly they'll be. So it will essentially be jelly instead of gummies. So while the liquid is still quite cool and hasn't warmed through yet, gently sprinkle over the gelatin powder on the surface, nice and evenly. What that will do is actually balloon the gelatin, which means it's slowly letting the liquid seep into it and soften it, which is essential before you turn the heat right up to dissolve it, because otherwise it will just clump up and you'll waste a lot of the gelatin and your lollies will not work. While that's doing its thing, you can get your molds ready. Whatever you want your mixture to go into to set in that shape. I use silicone molds. I've got a selection of fun shapes: robots, dinosaurs, animals, and then boring old circle regular lolly shape. It's handy to put them on a flat surface like a tray to move them into the fridge, because otherwise, when these are full of liquid, hot liquid, it's really hard to move them without making a mess and wasting all that good stuff. Once that's softened through, it's about the same time that the liquids become nice and warm with the low temp on the stove. So now you can increase the temp and get it to start simmering. It's important to have a whisk handy because you're going to need to stir it constantly until it's dissolved to make sure it doesn't stick to the base of the saucepan. Okay, so you've been stirring and whisking that nicely. It's not sticking to the bottom, because if it was, you'd feel it on the whisk and you'd be whisking really hard and giving it a scrape to try and salvage as much gelatin as you could off the bottom. But if that hasn't happened, good. It's been whisking well. Now it's all dissolved. Take it off the heat. It's still really, really hot because it's been simmering. It's all dissolved. It just looks like creamy coloured coconut milk now. We add the last few ingredients. I've added 3 heaped tablespoons of the cocoa powder just to make it nice and chocolatey. Give that a stir, and then we'll just add the honey, and that is it. About 3 or 4 tablespoons. Really, that's just up to your taste buds. If you're used to regular sugar foods, you're gonna need a lot more honey. If you've become paleo or really cut back on sugar over, say, the last 6 months and your taste buds have changed, you could definitely get away with less honey. Now it's time to pour the liquid into your molds to go in the fridge to set for at least a few hours. Depends on your fridge. You can put some ice bricks underneath and it will go a little bit quicker, but you've got to be a little bit patient here to make sure the gelatin sets all the way through. Right, ready to go in the fridge. Of course, you could turn that into almost any flavour. There are a few foods you cannot mix with gelatin or they won't set, they won't gel, but generally you can use almost anything. You can make fruit gummies, you can make vegetable gummies. I really like to add orange juice and carrot puree together. That is delicious and a good way to get more veggies in for the kids. Another option to make really pretty colours is to combine two different types of jelly mixture together and make layers. So you could use beetroot and do beet gummies, have them set in the molds, not quite filling the molds, and then pour on a semi-cool, not really hot, layer of coconut milk gelatin mixture, and then that will set as a two-tone effect. Super, super cool, very pretty. There's lots you can do with gelatin. It's one of my favorite foods to play around with, one of my favorite health foods to consume. So I hope this recipe is something that you try and enjoy and that the kids like it. It's definitely one of my favorites to make when the niece and nephews come over for sleepovers and just for Clint and I to have because it's yum. Make sure you follow my channel for more recipes and videos relating to health and wellness. Head to my website, primalinfluence.com, to find all my recipes and blog posts.